his thoughts on nature and environment. Why was he opposed to the Western kind of industrialization? Because the Western kind of industrialization, it not only exploited the weak nations and made them into colonies, it not only exploited the poor people in their own countries, but it exploited also Mother Nature. Therefore, Gandhi says that Mother Nature has enough to satisfy everyone's need, but not everyone's greed. So he was a pioneer of the green movement, of the environment movement. So, in addition to all this, Gandhi was not looking only for India's independence. He was looking for a future of the world when the world will become one, irrespective of nationality, race, religion, language, color. Above all these diversities, world should become one, world should become harmonious, world should become peaceful, world should become a place of cooperation. This was Gandhi's dream. Now, when I was studying Gandhi, I asked myself that does Gandhi belong to the past? If you look at his appearance, his spinning wheel, you might think, oh, he belongs to the past. In fact, many people in India, they criticized him, saying that because of his insistence on the spinning wheel, he was trying to take India backwards to the Middle Ages. They didn't realize what he was trying to convey. So, since we all live in the internet age, I was trying to see what is Gandhi's message for the internet age. And it suddenly struck me that the internet era is slowly realizing many of Gandhi's ideals. Gandhi wanted India, the world to become one. Today, the internet is actually making India, the world one. One community, one global village. There is a phenomenon that you perhaps know, death of distance. Today, distance doesn't mean anything. You're all the time connected with anyone else in the world. Instantaneous communication. Today, millions of people are engaged in millions of conversations with people around the world every hour, every minute. So this is bringing people together. And when people come together, when people talk to each other, like we are talking today, we get to know each other better. And when we get to know each other better, we don't think that the other person is my enemy. The other person may have some differences, but he doesn't become my enemy. And if at all some conflict arises, a majority of the people in the internet age would like that conflict to be resolved peacefully. So because of people talking and interacting, the constituency of peace in the world has got enormously enlarged. Let me give just one example, friends. And it's an example from your neighborhood, Syria. America was threatening to militarily attack Syria. Of course, nobody supports Syria's use of chemical weapons. But how did America backtrack? Because the people of America expressed themselves so forcefully, so strongly, and their voice was becoming more and more loud. The government, the senators, the congressmen, and of course the president says, my wife is opposed to my decision. So for the first time in the history of the world, common people are having a voice because of the internet. This is what Gandhi wanted. Ultimately, the United Nations passed passed a unanimous resolution, which I think is a major step forward. That is, chemical weapons should go. At the same time, it should be peacefully resolved. So Gandhi's vision is slowly coming true. I'm not saying that everything is hunky-dory, everything is good. Let's take another example which concerns you people, the academic world. Today, university is not just a geographical concept. You know, Istanbul University is located here, but Istanbul University is connected to all the universities in the world thanks to the internet, which was not possible 300 years ago or 500 years ago when this university was built. Look at the opportunity, look at the bright opportunity that each one of you has today. Look at the world of media. The media, you know, there was an American media expert, scholar, Herbert Schiller. You know, he wrote a book against the monopoly of the corporations of the media. He said, what media? This is mass media without the masses. Today, the internet is giving the media back to the masses because every person is able to become a journalist, citizen journalist. Similarly, there are citizen academicians, citizen scientists. So we are seeing cooperation on a global scale, which is what Gandhi envisioned. Let's take one more example. How the internet is completely breaking the walls of separation between the superior and the so-called inferior. In the 18th and the 19th and the 20th centuries, most of research and technology and enterprise was concentrated in Europe, in America. Today, we are becoming a flat world. You know, the scientists and technologists in India, they are as good as the ones in Silicon Valley. And perhaps the same is true in Turkey. So whether a person is in Sri Lanka or California or in Africa, it doesn't matter. We are now one world. So this was Gandhi's dream. So I have therefore said in my film that the internet is now becoming a weapon of mass construction. You know, as against weapon of mass destruction. You know, WMD, nuclear weapons, chemical weapons, these are weapons of mass destruction. The internet is a weapon of mass construction. So, this is a new age, friends. We are only beginning to see the initial stages of the internet revolution. In the coming decades, many more revolutionary changes will come because of nanotechnology, because of robotics, artificial intelligence, genetics. All this will change the world, but they can change the world in a positive way only if we combine technology with the wisdom of the ancient societies, such as the Society of Turkey, Society of India, other societies in the world. So Gandhi represents, you know, the vision of the future with the ethics of the past. And I conclude my talk today by quoting, you know, what he spoke at you can say it's a conference of Asian countries just before India got independence in 1947. There was Inter-Asian Relations Conference, which was held in New Delhi. So countries of all Asian countries were represented, and Gandhi was invited to address the delegates. I am going to quote from his speech, which I think is very relevant to your Department of Eurasian Studies. Because, as I said in the beginning, this is Asia speaking to Europe. Asia's voice. The best of Asia, the best of wisdom of Asia is now coming in Gandhi's words, friends. Gandhi joined the debate by reminding the delegations from different Asian countries that wisdom came to the West from the East. Who were the carriers of this wisdom? All of them were great prophets of the world. All of them were from Asia. Zoroaster, he belonged to the East. He was followed by Buddha. Buddha belonged to the East. In fact, he belonged to India. Who followed Buddha? Jesus, again from Asia. Before Jesus, there was Moses, also belonging to Palestine, though he was born in Egypt. And then came Jesus. Then came Muhammad. Gandhi says, I omit Krishna. As you know, Krishna is a very revered figure in India for Hindus. I omit Krishna. I omit Mahavir. Mahavir, the founder of great religion, Jainism. I omit Krishna. I omit Mahavir. I omit other lights. I won't call them lesser lights, but unknown to the West. They are not much known to the West. All the same, I don't know a single person to match these men of Asia. I don't know a single person from the West who can match these men, prophets of Asia. And then what happened? Gandhi asked this question. Then what happened? Christianity became disfigured when it went to the West. When Christianity went from Asia to the West, it got disfigured. It lost its soul. I am sorry to have to say that, but that is my reading. I won't take you any further through this. After reminding the delegates about Asia's great and unique prophetic heritage, Gandhi urged them to remain faithful to this heritage. Gandhi asked all the countries of Asia, their delegations, to remain faithful to the prophetic heritage of Asia and not to blindly copy the Western path of economic growth and militarism. Gandhi says, what I want you to understand, if you can, is that the message of East, the message of Asia, is not to be learned through European spectacles, through the Western spectacles, not by imitating the tinsel of the West, not by imitating the tinsel, the gold of the West, not by imitating the gunpowder of the West, the atom bomb of the West. If you want to give a message again to the West, it must be a message of love. It must be a message of truth. There must be a conquest, a moral conquest of the West by the East. So, friends, yours is the Department of Eurasian Studies. You are studying both Europe and Asia. There are many great things in Europe, and Gandhi himself acknowledged it. So we should not deny and reject what is good in Europe. But now, as I said, we are talking to Europe on equal footing. So let's absorb the best from Europe, but also give the best of Asia to Europe. That is the message of my book. That is the message of Mahatma Gandhi. Thank you very, very much for giving me this opportunity. If you have any questions, I will be very happy to share my reflections or even your comments.
So welcome. This was a very good presentation, and we love to see you here. Thank you for coming. My question will be about the last sentence you tell us in the presentation. Our message to West has to be by love and truth, and there has to be a moral conquest to the West. And I think in the 2nd of October, the birthday of Gandhi, I read an article in the Fair Observer, and the name of the article was Gandhi, the Paradox of Personal Desire. And the article was saying that India has a lot of troubles about violence, and people are facing with troubles, and probably lost the spirit of Gandhi in nowadays. And we can easily say the same thing in, not easily maybe, but in Turkey it is the same thing. We are seeing very weird things that we wouldn't accept in normal terms. And it doesn't seem like we are going to give our message to West by love and truth and moral conquest.
I want to thank you for this comment, and I share the spirit of your comment. Just because Gandhi came from India does not mean that India is following Gandhi. There is a big gap between India's practice today and Gandhi's message. So we very often pay a ritualistic tribute, but we do not really follow Gandhi. In my personal opinion, India should not have built the bomb, the atom bomb. It was the wrong thing. And India should urge other nuclear weapon states that at the very earliest opportunity we should destroy all nuclear weapons. Similarly, India is also imitating the West in many ways. So we have somehow forgotten ourselves. And therefore, the prophetic tradition, the great prophets of the East that he mentioned, all the people of all the countries should make an attempt to learn from the past, but not blindly follow from the past, because we are now living in a different world. We should understand today's problems from today's perspective, but guided by the wisdom of the past.
Evet. Başka soru? Sağ olun.
You can ask in Turkish and my friend will translate that in English.
Türkçe'de sorabilirsiniz. Murat abi.
Öncelikle hoş geldiniz. Benim sorum şöyle olacaktı. Hindistan bulunduğu konum itibariyle Asya'da daha çok işbirliği yapıyor. Enerji konusunda Hindistan daha çok hangi ülkelerle işbirliği yapmayı istiyor birisi? İkincisi, Hindistan'ın özellikle Orta Asya'ya yönelik politikasında partner olarak hangi ülke? Orta Asya yönelik politikasında Hindistan özellikle hangi ülkeyi kendisine bir partner olarak görüyor?
Just two questions, this gentleman here. Probably because of its location in the Asia, India is doing business with those countries that it borders with, that it's in this area. What would India like to do in the sector of energy sector? For which countries would want to work together with? The second question is, there are many issues Orta Doğu mu dediniz? Orta Asya.
Orta Asya.
Orta Asya. Which country does India see as a partner in dealing with the Middle Asian issues? Central Asian issues, Central Asian issues.
India is the second most populous country in the world. And within the next 20 years, or less than 20 years, it will in fact overtake China in terms of population. So we have a huge need of resources, especially energy resources, for India's economic development, especially to lift the poor people out of poverty, create jobs, create better facilities, both in cities and in rural areas. For all this, we need energy. We have some energy resources, but they are not adequate. So we have to cooperate with other countries that have energy resources in our own neighborhood. So we take a lot of energy resources, oil from the Middle Eastern countries, from Gulf countries.
You are thinking that India will buy oil and some another energy resources from Central Asia?
Yes, certainly. We would very much like to have new sources. For example, places like Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, they have huge resources of energy, and that is why we need cooperation, regional cooperation between countries of South Asia, that is mainly India and Pakistan, but also India, Pakistan and Central Asian republics. Not only for India, you see, we have to think of our region. Today, even Pakistan is, it needs to help its poor people. Afghanistan. So Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, we have to have a South Asian vision and cooperate with countries in our neighborhood. And in this context, we should certainly increase economic cooperation with Turkey, although not in the area of energy perhaps, but there are many other ways in which India, which is a growing economy, Turkey is a very growing, vibrant economy. We should increase cooperation. And my friend, Mr. Bulen, was telling me that Turkey is one of the top countries in construction. And India has a huge need for infrastructure construction. So we should increase cooperation between Turkey and India, especially in the area of construction, but there are other areas too. So our vision is regional cooperation and also international cooperation. Coming to your second question about, if I understood it rightly, it is Middle East?
Oh, sorry, Central Asian issues. Well, what would India see as a partner?
India had very close relations with the Soviet Union, but now there is no Soviet Union, there is Russia, and countries of Central Asia have become independent. There is enormous scope for cooperation between India and those countries, because those countries, they have energy resources, but in many other ways they are still behind in education, in healthcare. Of course, some countries are more advanced than others. So we believe, and I have myself been to some of these countries, we believe that Central Asia should become a region of prosperity, of development. Because, relations between Central Asia and India, they are very old relations, going back to Buddhist times, and of course continuing in the Islamic time. So we want this cooperation to continue and further deepen itself. But I want to come back to this part of the world, that is West Asia. See, West Asia, our desire and our dream is to see peace returning to West Asia. And I personally think that Turkey has a major role to play. And on this issue, again, India and Turkey should cooperate.
West Asia'ya tanımlanan kısmı
Is Middle East.
Hindistan'da, evet.
Yeah,
Orta
you know,
Doğu'yu
what we
yani.
call Middle East or Westerners call Middle East, for us it is West Asia.
Hindistan'da Batı Asya diyeceğiz. Orta Doğu.
Sıkıntı yaklaşık. Evet, başka? Buyurun.
Sunumunuz için teşekkür ediyoruz. Tekrar sunumuza dönecek olursam, şimdi sunumun başında da zaten bir şeyde yazıyor. Daha güzel bir, yani sadece barış dolu ve güzel bir dünyaya doğuyor şeklinde bir başlık atılmıştı. Bu sunumunuzdan da şeye baktığımız zaman, sunumunuzun sonunda dediniz ki Gandhi'nin dünyasıyla yani Hindistan'ıyla günümüz Hindistan arasında bir fark var. Bunu acaba Hindistanlılar Gandhi'yi anlamadı mı? Yoksa dünyaya Gandhi'yi nasıl anlatmayı düşünüyorsunuz? Yani Gandhi'nin günümüzde yansıması söz konusu mu? Anlayan var mı?
At the beginning of your presentation, there was a quote going as for a peaceful and non-violent world. But today we see the torture and all the evil going around the world. Do you think there are also troubles within India? We examine through our researches. We also see that. Do you think Gandhi's message is not truly understood by the Indians, or how do you think we should reflect his thoughts and his philosophy today? How should we reflect his thoughts in our own words in the life today?
Your question is in some way the continuation of the first comment that our friend made, that in India itself there are many things happening which are in conflict with the vision and the ideas and the ethical philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi. So it's a matter of concern for India. We should strengthen harmony between Hindus and Muslims, especially. We should strengthen cooperation and friendship between India, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh. And we believe that there is no other way than the path shown by Gandhi and of course other great leaders. What happens unfortunately is that in politics, in ours is both, we are proud of being a democracy. At the same time, our democracy has many imperfections, has many shortcomings. So different parties, they try to get power by taking shortcuts. Sometimes they use religion, misuse religion, or sometimes they don't educate the people properly. So even though we are proud that Gandhi was born in India, we still have a long way to go to actually follow Gandhi. Just as you see, that's